What a day. What a show. Hi, gang. Russ Kane here. The Midday Show. We got so many guests. It's like being on the Northern Line in London at 8:30 in the morning. I'm telling you that now. Don't even know where to start. I do know where to start. You know him. You love him. Around his home, within a radius of about now 3/4 of a mile, palm fronds line the streets. The king of comedy in that area, Neil Long.
Hello, greetings, and
Hello,
a very good
How are
afternoon.
you? Yes, everything good? Everything okay? We've got so many guests. I don't know where to start.
We got so many guests. Let's dive in.
Let's
what a show
kick
it's
off.
going to be.
I'm feeling old. Let's do this. Hello, Justin.
Hi, Russ.
How
Hi,
are
Neil.
you?
How are you?
Justin, good afternoon.
Everything good?
Yeah, everything's great. Thank you. Thanks for inviting me on.
Absolutely a pleasure. And you are Director of Strategy for the Centre of Aging Better. If I please tell me I've got that right.
That's absolutely spot on. Yes, that is me.
Brilliant. Now, Justin, I got to share something with you that happened to me over the weekend that made me very depressed. Are you ready?
Almost.
Okay. Neil's doing his impression of the Flying Scotsman pulling out of Euston. The 1947. All right. Every Saturday I go into Soho. Well, I go into Soho a lot. I'm in Soho in London. I go and have my cigar, I think. And I'm coming back. Train's busy. I'm standing up, not a problem. And a very nice young woman in her early 20s says, "Would you like my seat?"
Oh, she didn't.
I wanted to shoot myself, Justin. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I mean, some people need, support and things offering to them, but I mean, that's a sign, isn't it? It's a sign of ageism, which is.
I love your measured response to that, Justin. That was very well thought through.
Thank you. Well, that's why he's Director of Strategy. He's not going to be a fool, is he? He's Director of Strategy, for God's sake. Got the word director in front of his name. Now, tell us all about yourself. Tell us what you're doing here, because it's something that I think we treat so badly in the UK, and I know Neil agrees as well, because we've talked about it a lot on the show.
No, that's great. So, I did want to come on and talk about ageism. So it is the most widespread form of discrimination in the UK. And as you sort of hinted at, like, it's often dismissed as being harmless, but research shows that it's really kind of damaging in terms of, ageist ideas and beliefs. They affect, everybody, you, me, people tuning into this, and wider society. And that's why.
Agreed.
Here.
Yeah. So at the Centre for Aging Better, we have launched our campaign, Age Without Limits. And its idea it's to challenge ageism so that we can face fewer challenges and all benefit as we grow older.
See, my observation in the workplace is that we live in a very kind of youth-obsessed society. Let's take one look at Instagram. And I work with a lot of young people, and I think they're fantastic, the vast majority of them that I work with, in fact, all of them. However, it doesn't mean that the people at the other end are kind of, or should be put out to pasture. Because I know people, a mutual friend of mine and Russ's, he's in his early 60s, he's got the energy of a teenager, and is absolutely fantastic in the workplace, plus a lifetime of experience. This is when we should be getting people of this age, assuming they're physically well enough to do it, into the workplace, not slinging them out to pasture, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, absolutely spot on. I mean, we know that, age diverse workforces are the most productive, where you've got people of different ages working together. And if I can give you an example, so like, the workplace is one of the places where ageism most clearly is seen. So we know that over 50s get fewer opportunities for training and other progression than their younger peers. And they're seen as having lower levels of performance or less ability to learn. 36% of 50 to 70-year-olds say that their age would disadvantage them in applying for jobs. And it, like I said, it's scandalous, and it shouldn't be the case. And there's stuff we can do about it.
Why is that, do you think? Why? Yes, how have we got here?
Why? Seriously, can I just add to that? I want to add to Neil's question, if I can, Justin. Why is it in like Japan and probably Italy, the older members of the family are venerated, and over here they're a pain in the ass? Why? How do we get to this position?
I mean, I guess that's ageism in a nutshell, isn't it? You know, we know that over half the public believes that UK society is ageist. It underpins all of this stuff. At least a third of people admit to having ageist beliefs. So you know, we know it's there, but it's that it's the prejudice that's hidden in plain sight. It's kind of embedded in society and even accepted as normal. So, you know, we see and hear casual ageism every day in the media and on TV,
Always.
cafes, and it's just accepted. And that's what the campaign's about, really. We're asking people to kind of take a step back, take a thought, think about their own ageist beliefs. And as we said, you know, we've got the Action Day coming up on Wednesday this week, which is a focal point, really, to kind of encourage people to get involved.
What kind of beliefs are the most common that you come up against? If they could be put into like pithy sentences. Yeah,
I mean, we see ageism appear in all sorts of parts of society. We mentioned one being the workplace, where people believe that, you know, older workers aren't as able to perform, which we know is wrong. Another area is so health and social care. So studies suggest that age might impact people to treatment. So an older person with mental health problems is more likely to be prescribed antidepressants and less likely to be referred for talking therapies. So again, it's just another example.
This is even more serious, isn't it? Because that's just saying we don't value our old people at all. And Russ is right. In other cultures, they're venerated, revered. Yeah, very much so. And we know it's good for mental. I mean, my dad, before he died, bless him, he was active up until his very last day, really. You know, keeping busy, doing things, you know, building a scaffolding tower when he was 79 years old and climbing it, which terrified my mother. You could, but seriously, that was the kind of thing, and he needed that. And the mutual friend that we're talking about, me and Russ, I'm not going to name him out of respect, but he needs that kind of activity for his mental health.
Yeah, it's so important.
People feeling they have a purpose and people feeling they still have value in the world is a key component of mental health. Key.
How do you feel, Justin, about retiring? I don't mean because I think it's a myth, and I guess this is my position on it. You're the expert, right? But you know, you work in a horrible factory, or you're a coal miner. You're doing something really tough. Not what we do, something tough and physical. And after 50 years or whatever, you think, thank God I don't have to get up on a Monday morning, go down the coal mine or make rivets. I get that. And you can try and enjoy your life. But otherwise, if you're using your mind for your work, which 98% of us, I guess, do, to retire seems to me awful. Absolutely awful. I couldn't think of anything worse. I wouldn't know what to do.
Yeah, and it's a really important point that people have choices to make. So, you know, for some people, retirement is, you know, it works for them at whatever age they choose to do it, and they're financially able to do that. But we know that for lots of people,
my dad loved his retirement, to be fair.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's okay, good.
For lots of people, it's not possible. Like, one of the biggest problems we have is assuming that, you know, all older people are the same. And like you say, yes, some older people have done well, they're able to make choices to retire, but some aren't. 1 in 5 older people are living in poverty, you know, and for those people, you know, that choice just doesn't exist. And so we know that ageism in the workplace, there are loads of barriers for people to either stay in work or to re-enter work if they fall out of it. And one of the things, you know, that the campaign is aiming to do is kind of like, you know, draw that out and make people more aware of it so that we can do something, because it isn't inevitable. There are steps that, you know, that we can take.
How do you get past the first barrier, which is you think you want a job and you apply and they look at your age, you're not going to get that interview. How do we get potential employers to go, you know what, look at all that experience. Yeah, let's get this man or woman in and have a chat. Let's see what we can do.
So I mean, one of the things is the point you made earlier is, which, you know, is raising awareness of the fact that everybody at all ages, everybody's got something to contribute. We're working with employers directly. We've got a network of over 300 employers now, which is fantastic, that are, you know, committing to be age friendly, which means that they value an age diverse workforce, and they're taking actions to encourage people to stay in work or to join them. So that's things like offering flexibility in the workplace. That's things like just making sure there's different health support for people in the workplace. It's trying to encourage an age-friendly culture. There are really simple steps that organizations can take, which mean that people can stay in work longer, or if they're looking to apply for jobs, we're removing that bias from recruitment.
See, Justin, what I don't get is that we've had diversity rammed down our throats endlessly. Okay, I get it. It's fine. But it doesn't apply to getting older. It's just you can kick them to the curb. How come that's okay? I don't get it.
Yeah, and it's not okay. And I think that that's what this campaign's all about. It's saying that this isn't a competition with other kind of diversity characteristics. They're all important. But what we're trying to say is that age at the moment as a kind of a prejudice and discrimination it's largely ignored, and we need to do something about it, because it's something that can affect everyone of all ages. And whilst the effects are more damaging as you get older, it's a prejudice against your future self. We're all aging. It happens to all of us.
It's inevitable. I mean, you can't get round it. We all age and we all die. That's life. That's how it works. Just in case you think I'm moaning about it, my son, who now lives in the States, but he's in the field of tech, of course, and I went to visit his office, and he said, "Look, I'm like the old fart here. I'm looking at my kid and going, really?" And he went, "Look around," and he feels old. So it's not like when you get to my age, or then years later to Neil's age. It's like when you're in your 40s, early 40s, late 30s, you're thinking, "Oh my God, it's catching up with me." People forget that.
It can affect everybody. But like I said, again, keep trying to say, this isn't inevitable. We've got to challenge this, and it's the reason that we've launched this campaign. It's the reason we've got the action day, and we're encouraging people to get involved. And it's really easy to get involved. We're not asking for really complicated things.
Okay, how do you get it? How do you get involved? Because it's coming up on Wednesday.
Yeah, so Wednesday is the action day. So we're encouraging people to go to our website, which is agewithoutlimits.org. And on there, you'll find loads of information, tools, to find out about aging, to find out about ageism, and to find out about, there's a list of events taking place across the country, which you can get involved in. We've also got our Are You Ageist quiz, and I would encourage everybody to do the quiz. It's remarkable. We all hold these views, but we don't know it. So take the quiz to kind of unearth those and make yourself think. And then the other thing I was going to say is that we're trying to encourage people to share images on social media so that they're showing their own aging in a more balanced and diverse way than we usually see in the media. So we've got a hashtag, as everyone does, see and be seen.
I like that.
Images, share them on social media, and let's generate a kind of a bit of energy and some more balanced view of what aging can be like in the country.
Well, excellent. And it's not government funded or anything, or is it government funded? What? How do you?
No, we're a charitable foundation, and our funding initially has come from the National Lottery Community Fund.
Oh, good for you.
So, we're trying to get more and more people involved.
Well, if there's anything that Neil and I can do, if anything that Neil, who looks after the Wednesday show brilliantly, or I can do, or we can do as a company for you, you know how to reach us, or you can contact your pal Mark Q, and he knows how to reach us because he's never off the blooming phone. So please do. I hope it goes really well for you on Wednesday. I really do. It's something Neil is passionate about it. I'm truly passionate about it. Probably because I'm old, but it has no place.
It's just all that experience and potential going to waste. Doesn't make much sense to me, really.
No, I don't understand. And finally, blame with this. Can you remind me Wednesday, since I've retired 3 months ago?
Oh, well, that's different. If you're enjoying yourself, Facebook user,
busy.
Then you're good to go.
That's good. That's good. Listen, Justin, thank you so much for joining us. I know you've got a busy day. Thank you very much. And,
my pleasure.
Best of luck. Good luck with everything you do.
Russ. Thanks, Neil.
Okay. Bye. Bye-bye. What a very nice chap. Liked him a lot. We liked him. Right.
Indeed. So many guests.
We got, yeah, well, that was all good. This is, can you imagine? I know it sounds funny, but when this girl asked me would I like her seat on the chip, I wanted to freaking die. It sent me into the depths of effing depression. I was like, oh shit, what do I look like? Crap is obviously the answer.
No.
No. I won't have it. Right.
You're a hunker of rippling testosterone, sir.
You know it, baby. You know it. Hey, now here's a weird thing. 6 degrees of separation. You're going to love this, Neil. I really think you're going to love this. Okay. So, I'm a celebrant, and I do funerals and weddings and vow renewals, which seems to be a big thing for me at the moment.
I do.
Okie dokie. So I don't know any of the people that I act as a celebrant for. They're not, they're not friends of mine. They are total strangers.
Clients.
But you clients, and you get to know them. And I did a very large funeral just a few weeks ago of a guy that I didn't know, but who was much loved in the music industry. And the place was packed. And it was an honor and a privilege to do. And I dealt with a very charming lady, his other half, called Jerry Perry. Charming woman. And her son, Luca, who's also a brilliant musician. Name. Jerry Perry. So you would do. We know her through Capital, probably in plugging and through PR.
Yeah. I know.
Anyway, I get an email out the blue. I got a musical coming up. I'm thinking, well, good. I'm pleased you're busy, and I'm pleased you've got back on the horse and all of that. And I look at the details of this musical, and I think, wowza. And it's the world premiere. This is an early interview, and I'm excited. Hello, you two.
Hi, Russ. Hi, Neil. How are you?
Hey, Brian. Hey, Ben. Hi.
We're very, very good. How are you doing?
Good. We're live from rehearsals for that musical that you said wow about.
Well, I did go wow.
Now I'm intrigued.
Because I got to tell Neil, wait, right. So I look at I've never heard of the musical, right? It's the thing. And I look at the cast and I go, you got to be effing kidding me. I love this guy, Eric McCormack. Oh my God, Will and Grace. Just Jack. Yeah. Just Jack. Oh, come on. Fantastic. What a cast.
Yeah, we're very pleased. Very, very pleased.
It's great. Now, tell us all about the show.
Well, this is a very unique musical. It was written by Shalina Kennedy, who you may have heard was the longest running Carole King in the Broadway musical Beautiful, the Carole King story. She wrote the music and lyrics. Eric Holmes wrote the book. It's based somewhat in part on Shalina's album, What You Find in a Bottle, that she released in 2015. And she and Eric wrote a musical. And the musical has been in development for several years. Last year, we did a 29-hour reading in New York, followed by a world premiere recording released in November. Already been streamed 120,000 times.
Blimey.
And we decided, Caitlin and I, Caitlin's the associate producer, I'm the producer, what better place to launch this and see if it has an audience than the West End.
Precisely.
So we connected with a wonderful general management firm, CDM, and we were steered to one of your small little theaters, Theater Royal Drury Lane.
Oh, that tiny little place.
Never heard of it.
To test it. What I didn't know, gentlemen, was that here, when you do a concert version, that means nothing. It's really a production. So we've been gearing up for what is essentially a full production, albeit only 2 nights, 2 evenings, the 25th and 26th. Yeah.
And Brian and Caitlin, here's the very bad news. And I don't want to be pushy. And Jerry will tell you I'm not pushy in the least. Could you move the nights? Because I'm busy both nights.
Yeah,
Look,
I'm sure that'd be
come on.
fine, Russ. I'm sure they rearranged the whole
Thank
thing
you,
just for you.
See? Well, you know, as my late
Listen,
mum
if
used
you
to
asked
say,
earlier,
Brian,
Russ,
as my late mum used to say, if you don't ask, you don't get.
Very true.
Russ, if you had asked
You know.
earlier, we would have seen what we could do.
I appreciate. What if I'd have asked at like 9 o'clock this morning?
No,
So-
9 o'clock. I was just ending an interview with Eric on Good Morning Britain.
That tiny show, but this is the big show. That was like
This
a
was the one
warm-up
we were
gig.
looking
That was
forward
the
to the most.
warm-up gig.
Yeah.
You know, they don't know what they're doing on that show. These are the pros here, me and Neil. We know what we're doing. Tell us what the show's about. Caitlin, I want you to
Caitlin.
speak. I'm
Yes,
determined
Caitlin,
you are-
tell us about it. How are you involved, Caitlin?
Yes.
Oh, sure. So I'm the associate producer to Brian's lead producer. And
Okay.
the show is a really beautiful story about a woman who wakes up in the hospital with no memory. And she has to sort of go back through her life and try to piece together these different relationships that she's had and
Yes.
sort of figure out what she's left behind, what she's forgotten from her life. The music is stunning. The book is really beautiful. It's a very heartwarming and relatable story that I think everyone will be able to come and find something in the show that they can really relate to and something that feels familiar from their life and different relationships that they've experienced.
Well, Caitlin, I'm with you all the way because I wake up and I can't remember anything either. So straight away.
It happens.
Here. Where the hell's my phone? Where are my reading glasses?
Well,
There
you
go.
don't have Todrick Hall jogging your memory. We have
No,
the
no.
Todrick Hall jogging
Yes.
the memory of Rachel Tucker. What better?
Yes.
What better situation? So yeah, and the music is what sold Caitlin and I. We fell in love with the score, and we're able to amass an incredible A-list of Broadway stars to help us record the album, and continue that with a great cast here. Eric,
How did
Todrick
you
Hall,
get Eric?
Rachel.
I'm going to ask. How did you get Eric? For heaven's sake.
Eric, by the way, has never done London stage for your
Has he not?
listeners and viewers.
Oh.
Yeah, so we feel very fortunate. Eric goes way back with our composer lyricist Shalina Kennedy. They're both Canadian. They both rose through the ranks in Canada before they found fame and fortune. So that connection. Eric is actually on our album doing a quartet. So Eric liked the piece, and when Shalina and he discussed that we were doing it in London, he said, "I'll go," and we said, "Come on." So it's just, I mean, you know, when you put this together, you think you'll find a cast that will work well together. It's been dreamlike how collaborative and spiritual the experience has been to watch this cast gel over the past week. We only have 2 weeks to rehearse, so we're as we speak, we're rehearsing.
Wow. It sounds terribly exciting.
And
it sounds brilliant. And 2 weeks, pressure's on.
It does.
Yeah, it does. But I have to commend, one thing I have to say is the local, the British press, the British people have been so welcoming to us. The theater industry here is just enchanting for us. We can't get enough of it. Birthplace of theater, where most of the shows I've done have come from. It's been just wonderful. And I want to thank everyone who's part of it that's made this possible.
There is a magic to theatre. I mean, even the very limited amount of performing I've done in theatre.
Even if we talk funny, we have our heart in the right place.
But you're right. There is a magic, you know, being on stage and that feel, just the feels of all of it. And you're right, enchanting is a good word. It
really is. It really is
a wonderful, wonderful thing, and I wouldn't be without it.
What's the plan going forward, Caitlin? You're going to do two.
You're
2 nights. That's
He's
it.
the real brains behind the operation. I have to
Oh, Brian, you flatterer, you smooth talking person from North America. What's the plan?
That's a great question. We have no formal announcements to make as of now, but we're hoping. sorry to disappoint. We're hoping that the response is really positive to the concerts, and we're hoping that it's well received by audiences over here in the UK. And you know, depending on how all of that goes, I think we're planning on doing one more workshop of the show afterwards to sort of
Excellent.
finesse the piece a little bit more, and then we'd love to come back, or of course eventually take it to Broadway. So we're gonna see what happens next and how the reception is to these concerts, and then we'll make a decision about moving forward. But it's been really wonderful being over
And
here.
here's a weird thing: our theatre critic on the Midday show is called Jonathan Baz. He's a professional theatre critic, and he's coming along, by the way, quite independently of us. We were chatting about it. It's just 6 degrees of separation again. So he's coming along. So I'm sure he will love it.
Unlike most producers, we sincerely welcome the critics' comments on it. We haven't really staged it, so we want to hear what's good and bad about it. We think it's pretty damn good, but we wouldn't be involved if we didn't. We could choose among any projects to sign up to, but we welcome those critiques, and we hope we'll get them. I know I can expect some of them already. They've already told me some already, but we really want to air this out in front of a smart, knowledgeable audience, and that's what we're going to get at Drury Lane on the 25th and 26th.
I wish you all the very, very best. I know how busy.
I know how
busy you're going to be, you two. Bless you for finding time to come onto the Midday show with me.
Hey,
thanks for being on. Enjoy the UK, enjoy our hospitality here, and I hope the production goes swimmingly well for you.
We heard that this was the podcast to do, so here we are.
It is. Oh,
you're right.
You're right. Well advised. Well advised. That is solid gold
advice.
So that's why we're here. But we appreciate the opportunity to talk about what we love, and hopefully we'll be on again when we produce it here someday.
Oh God, that would be so wonderful. And can I just say, I know this is very uncool because I'm meant to be cool because we're in the media, but I'm not. Just say, Will and Grace, one of the best shows I've ever seen, and I would cry
also think
with
so.
Laughter. Crying with laughter.
We agree.
Anyway, thank you
Come
so
see
much.
Eric. He's amazing.
Oh, Eric, he's terrific, isn't he? And the rest of the cast are brilliant. If you see their bios, it's like, what the hell? It's great. Best of luck,
guys.
You two.
Have a really good day.
And you. Bye-bye. Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Fab. What? I should say so.
Where do you get all these wonderful people from, Russ Kane?
Well, it's called hard work. It's called hard work. I read the background to this show, right? This Wild About You musical. And I'm not big on musicals. I'm just not, because, I'm just not, And
no, I'm not in general, but there are some that I enjoy.
They kind of wind me up, to be honest with you. It's like, oh, here we go. It's another song. You can feel it coming on and all that sort of thing. But when I read the story, I thought the story's really interesting. It's really intriguing. Somebody wakes up. They got no memory. They got to replace their whole life, put it all together. The cast is a sensation. The cast is an absolute sensation on this show.
I have to say, Back to the Future, the musical was very
it was fab. That was, oh my God, what a show. So we had Doc Brown on the show. I don't know if you knew that. The guy playing Doc Brown, we had him on the show. I
did not know that. What's his name?
Excellent question. Next. I can't remember. God, no. Very, very good American. Yeah, American actor. I loved it. I went with Baz Boy, Jonathan Baz, as his +1. And I had I'll be honest, I had low expectations because I don't like musicals made out of films. I don't want to see it. It blew me away. I thought it was fantastic. It was so entertaining and just terrific. Loved it. Back to the Future. If you haven't seen it, go and see it. I've got no skin in the game. Makes a difference to me if you do or you don't. I loved it. I think you'll really, really enjoy it. Do you walk out? I got a question for you. Do you walk out of stuff you don't like? I mean, not in the middle of but walk out in the interval. I don't mean in the middle of the show.
Yes, relationships generally.
The comedy stylings of Mr.
The odd
Neil
sexual
Long,
twist here and there,
I decided ages ago that life is too short. You get to my age, it really is. And life is too short. And I decided if I'm sitting there and the show is just pants and I'm loathing every second, I think I'm not going to sit through the second half of this.
On occasion, I will. I mean, a very rare occasion.
I'm going. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's like I've walked out of a few because I'm thinking, I hate this and I don't care what happens. The worst thing is indifference, I think. It's like, I don't care what happens. You know, none of the protagonists resonating with me. It's badly written. It's whatever. They're doing their best, but the material's crap. So you can't bounce back from that. It's all down to the writing. It's all down to that. So if the story isn't strong, etc., you're just not gonna. It's just not going to win you over. You know, it's not going to win you over. What's your favourite show you've ever seen in the theatre? You think? Yeah, tough call. Tough call. Yeah.
I couldn't name it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't know. Not off the top of my head.
Right, what's some of your favourite shows?
Well, Back to the Future was fantastic. There was a Ben Elton play, which I went to see once. That kind of typical whodunit Ben Elton style, and I really enjoyed that. It's quite a minimal cast, but that was very good. That was a while ago. I don't go to the theatre an awful lot, to be honest with you.
Well, it's because it's crazy money. It's insane money. You know, what are the cheap seats? Oh, £100. Hello. What? So that's 200 quid. What, you're going to have a drink? Are you going to have a snack? Are you going to get up there? Or if you're young, you're going to get a babysitter? Come on. This is.
I did see Bill Bailey a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if that counts.
Crazy.
I mean, that was
right.
That was fantastic. Seeing Bill Bailey was brilliant.
Crazy.
Have we frozen?
No, we're back now.
Back. I was saying I have seen Bill Bailey very recently. He was absolutely fantastic.
Oh, I love him.
Genius.
The word genius. The word genius is bounded around like confetti at a wedding. He is a genius. He really is. It's brilliant what he does. I'm a massive fan of his. I'm in awe of his talent. You know, you look at that and you think, how did you think of that? That's just fantastic. He's so talented, brilliant musician, and hilarious, and hilariously funny. It's one of those things. See if I carry you with me on this. He's massively talented, but he doesn't force it down your throat. Look at me, aren't I clever? It's sort of done in such a self-depreciatory style. Wonderful. Nearest thing, you won't know this guy I'm going to mention, some of our more mature members of the audience will. Victor Borge, which will mean probably nothing to you.
I know the name. Victor
Borge was a Danish entertainer, incredibly stylish, always bow tie, always beautifully, and was brilliant pianist and hilarious at the same time. And that's the nearest thing I can think of. By the way, today, the highest number of viewers in the history of the last 6 years ever.
Yeah,
congratulations, Neil, and congratulations.
I've noticed the numbers going up.
The numbers have. Well, I'm not going to comment on why, but they have gone up, and I thank you. Thank you for sticking with us. Thank you for joining us. You know, we never left you. And you never left us. It's just sometimes you just got to do stuff that's got to be done. That's the end of the story. Let's see what comments are coming in. Here we go. Right. Mr. Claridge is saying, Bill Bailey, behind the scenes, a huge supporter of animal charities, and he loves dogs. Well, then we like him a lot. What's this? Is that one of the perks of getting older?
Oh, my God. Look at this.
What's that?
I left the final Wham concert early. Who are you, Facebook user? Shame on you.
That's Kimmy Lashmar.
Is it? Kimmy, how could you?
You need to read that out in full.
I will.
No, Paul, it's a stupid idea.
Do we know this is Kimmy? How do you know?
Well, because it's K with a kiss.
Oh, okay.
Unless it's Cloyd Beanie or Clary Viner.
I horrified everyone I told that I left the final Wham concert early, fell up with the prancing around.
Kimmy, the only thing I can add to that is I walked out of a Chuck Berry concert at the Royal Albert Hall.
Was he playing with his ding-a-ling?
He might as well have. It would have been more entertaining. It was bloody awful. Guess who the
Really?
support? Yeah, it was awful. I walked out. I was at school. The support act was The Who.
No way.
Yes, way. And they came on and they were bored shitless. I'm sorry. And they gave the worst performance I've ever seen from The Who, because I'm a massive Who fan, right? Saw them loads of times with the full lineup with John Entwistle and Keith Moon. And they were just bored, didn't want to be there. And then Chuck Berry came on and it was the laziest performance. I thought, this is awful. And I left. I just walked out. Anybody else walked out of something that everybody else loved? Anybody?
I'll tell you an interesting story. There's a metal band called Disturbed.
I love Disturbed. Love Disturbed.
Their best song, in my opinion, is their version of The Sound of Silence.
Incredible. Incredible.
Unbelievable. David Draymond, the way he does that is just incredible. And people will go, they were warming up. They were the warm-up for the support for another act. And I can't remember who it was, but it was a big rock act. I can't remember, genuinely can't remember, but big on the rock scene. And people were leaving after watching Disturbed. They just went for The Sound of Silence.
Oh, that was it? They just wanted to hear that.
And then they left before they saw the main act, some of them, yeah. Some years ago, I wanted to leave a gig early at the Bedford. Is that the Bedford in Balham, Paul? Is that where they do Banana Cabaret?
Yeah.
I know the Bedford in Balham.
The Bedford in Balham, they spent a fortune renovating it.
I've done comedy there.
Oh, it's a nice venue. Now, this is Mr. Big Shot from New York City. Good morning. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Is it? Whenever it was. I don't know. It's just a big advert for Guinness, for God's sake. Errol Rappaport, what's today's subject? Musicals? Have you ever watched out of a show?
Here.
No, it's a terrible idea. It's rubbish. Put it away. Put it away. Put it away. No, it's history, and it's ancient history. Unless you're Neville. Unless you're Neville in Death in Paradise. Final scene. Just say. That's what I got to say. Now, I wish we had more time with the fellow from The Aging, because I think you can't discriminate on any other grounds, can you? You can't discriminate. Listen to this story, right? Listen to this story. This was told to me over dinner on Friday night. This is where we are in the world in 2024. It's somebody in the city, and it's not apocryphal, it is true. And the guy is interviewing for a job in the city, and this young person comes in, and the guy's explaining about the company and the work that would be involved. And the kid, I call him a kid, the kid sitting in the interview chair goes, "Can I just stop you there? How many days a week am I expected to be in the office?" Remember, he's going for an interview to see if he was right. What are my hours? And how long is my lunch break? This is the scene. This is in the city, right? This is the city, not the civil service. So the chap running this very big company in the city goes, "Well, I'm so sorry. This is the city, the financial headquarters of the UK. Doesn't work like that. We don't discuss lunch hours and, all of this." Anyway, the interview ended. The guy obviously didn't get the job. What do you think happened next? Neil Long of New Malden. What happened next? Must take your first answer.
He went and sued for some.
Correct.
Oh, well, I was joking.
No, the guy gets a letter from the lawyer. You didn't get. What? How did we get here, gang? How the hell did we get here? The guy's obviously unfit for the job. And he goes out and he gets a lawyer to try and sue. Jesus.
Unbelievable.
Neil was trying to think of the most stupid thing he could think of.
I was joking.
No.
Paul, I'm curious. Do you mean the Bedford in Balham? I'm just curious because there's a comedy club there.
Yes, it's the Bedford in Balham. Yeah.
Banana Cabaret, yeah. Also, Paul says Eddie Nestor, who does a great job on BBC London, doesn't he? Once played the murderer in Death in Paradise. He had very few lines, but his crying was worthy of a BAFTA.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that. I used to knock when Eddie was there in the studio. I'd knock on the glass.
I'd love to be in Death in Paradise. I would love to be.
Oh, it's fantastic!
Oh, it's
I
one
love
of my
that show.
favourites.
I love.
Who is
that
your
show.
favourite detective?
Ooh, I am going to go. No, I love Ralph.
Brilliant, but I like Chris Marshall too.
Chris Marshall was my favourite out of all of them. Chris Marshall was my favourite.
Who's the Irish guy? Ariel O'Hanlon.
Yeah, I wasn't that keen.
And what's the name of the first guy?
On second viewing, it improved. I know this sounds really bizarre. On second viewing, it improves. But I wasn't crazy about him. I loved Chris Marshall. Loved Chris Marshall. If you
mention the first guy now, and I can't remember his name. What was his name?
God,
Ben Miller.
Miller, because it was Miller and Armstrong, as in Pointless, as in Alexander Armstrong Pointless. They were a double act. Did you remember that?
Yes, I've never seen Alexander Armstrong do. I only knew him from Pointless and his radio work. I never knew he had a funny side as well.
Yes, indeed, it was Miller and Armstrong. And Ben Miller is very good. Come on, Russie, think of it. He was in a series called Professor T, where he's kind of on the spectrum. Well, not kind of. He's on the spectrum, and he solves crime. And he's a professor at Oxford or Cambridge. I can't remember. Now, if you like Death in Paradise, Longy, you like Death in Paradise. I love Death in Paradise. I think our gang like Death in Paradise, right? Liz Saul loves Death in Paradise. Written and created by a man called Robert Thorogood. And Robert Thorogood has created a new show, which you can get on UK TV, which is free. So you can just, the hell with the BBC, you can just sign up UK TV for nothing. And it's called the Marlowe. What's it called? The Marlowe Murder Club. That's either I think it's called the Marlowe Murder Club or the Marlowe Murder Mysteries. You can't miss it.
I'll tell you what.
Samantha Bond.
Speaking of murder, see what you think of this. I've been watching on Channel 4. I don't know if Chantal recommended this over the weekend for your Friday TV roundup, but
yep.
It's basically a social experiment. And what they've done, they've taken a real murder trial, anonymized it, changed names and dates and places. But it is word for word, and it's all done by actors. Everyone is an actor: the judge, all the court ushers, all the court staff, the barristers, the prosecution, the defense, apart from the jury.
Yeah,
who is real people. Now, this kind of thing's been done before. The twist is there's two juries who aren't aware of each other, and the social experiment is to see if they will come to the same conclusion. And and it calls into question our justice system. Yeah. And I'm not going to spoil it for you, but it is absolutely compelling viewing. Absolutely compelling viewing.
Well, Chantal did mention it, and I thought that sounded terrific.
It's very compelling viewing. And the thing is, of course, I lost my train of thought there for a second. Sorry.
Why is it the two juries? Don't spoil it.
I'm not going to.
No, but you've got two juries watching exactly the same thing, right?
Yes.
Right, the same thing. And I'm going out on a limb. They come up with different verdicts. One says guilty.
I'm not going to spoil it.
Okay. All right. So I'm curious, and this is where the human element comes in, of course, why one jury decides X and one jury decides Y. Is it because, like, God's sake, what was it called? Gregory Peck film. Come on, gang. Can't think. My mind's gone blank. There's someone very strong in the jury room when they're deliberating, or is it because they just?
Oh, well, that's what I was going to say. No legal people, even the judge, even the senior people, have ever seen, because of law, what goes on in a jury room. It's allowed to be filmed because it's a fake jury, so it's a fascinating insight for various. Doctors of criminology and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. And they talk to the guy who was the former chief prosecutor, Nazir, I think his name is, the Asian gentleman. And also the interesting thing is that juries are just ordinary people like you and I, or anyone watching this. They're not legally trained. And it's been observed by another legal professional that there's important points of law which could affect the case, which they don't understand. And they're operating on a very limited understanding. And because this particular trial was a toss-up between manslaughter and murder, that could be the difference between 2 years in prison and 20 years in prison.
Right, big difference.
Yeah, to say the least. Yes, that is the lesser end of manslaughter. It can be much longer. And suppose that's
So
about
is this
average.
a made-up case, or they're?
No,
it's
a genuine case.
It's a real
I'll tell you what
case.
happened in the genuine case. I can tell you the result of that without spoiling the show, if you like.
Okay, sure.
It was basically husband and wife. He's just married her.
Mhm.
They've been a bit on and off, and she, according to the defence, have, shall we say, put this politely, quite a few issues, personality disorders. She would throw things at him. She would verbally abuse him and all that sort of stuff. And he was
Doesn't
pushed
sound
and he
good.
lost it. Is it manslaughter or is it murder?
You know what? When it's
Difficult.
something like that, my first reaction is always there, but for the grace of God, go any of us. Who knows when you're pushed to the absolute limit?
Yeah.
I mean, the absolute limit, not like I'm a bit miffed. I mean, like you just lose it and something awful happens.
I've been pushed to that degree. Very rarely, thank goodness. But
you would become, I'm guessing, a completely that we wouldn't know that was you. That is another person.
No,
emerges.
you wouldn't. It's I didn't become violent, but I can, let's just say I could understand why some people do.
And in that heat of the moment,
but
when
I'm
you're
not
not
particularly.
yourself.
I'm not a particularly angry person anyway. Well, I'm not.
No,
at all.
you're very mellow.
Yeah.
Opposite of me.
But we love you for it, Russ.
I'm not mellow. I never pretended to be.
No, but you're passionate about things. That if people are pushed to the absolute limit, and generally the people closest to you know what buttons to push as well. And when you're pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed, I can understand why some people do snap. And for me, if I'd have been on that jury, I would have found it virtually impossible to convict him of murder. I would have been the holdout.
Yeah.
In the real case, it was manslaughter, and he got 7 years with a minimum to serve of 3, I think.
It's a weird thing, isn't it?
But I felt very sorry for him. You see the guy in the dock, and it was very well acted. And okay, it's only a portrayal, but I think it was pretty accurate, I'd guess. And he wasn't a well man. Throwing him into jail is not the solution. There's got to be better solutions.
Which would be?
He needed help, and for that matter, she needed help. And where was the help? Well, I've said this before. Where's the help where we can go to before it gets to that stage?
It doesn't. It doesn't exist.
Before the police have to get involved.
It doesn't
I'm not
exist
saying this
at all.
to disrespect the police, but before the police have to get involved, where is that bridge, that kind of halfway point where people can go and say, "Look, I really need help here."
Well,
it would save lives.
This is a lame answer. Samaritans. I think if you're...
But the Samaritans are not there to give advice. Samaritans do not... I know a Samaritan. He lives 2 doors down the road from me, and he's a lovely man, but he's told me all about it, and he's a lovely, compassionate man, but they're not allowed to give advice. They can't strategize. They can't...
Okay, I get that. Understood. But if you were at boiling point and needed to defuse, wouldn't it be better to have a professional at the end of the phone rather than trying to put your fist through a wall?
Yes, absolutely.
That's what I'm saying. You phone the Samaritans, and it doesn't have to be because you're standing on Waterloo Bridge about to jump. You don't have to. I just want to make that clear. I think that often people forget that. You don't have to be at that stage.
And there will be 1 or 2 that would abuse the system as well, of course. But I honestly would like to live in a more compassionate, I suppose, society where I've debated the mad and bad argument in my head for ages.
Coming in from New York, is this? Errol. You'd love Errol, by the way. I only met him once, but you'd like him. He came. I like this. It's great. It's great. Would you like to read it out, Neil?
A chap of 88 says he wants to die by going head on into a tree in his Ferrari. Not bad.
Yep.
Chap of 92 says he wants to die in his sleep. Yep. A chap of 102 says he wants to be shot by a jealous husband. Very good.
Kimmy is saying this. It used to be your doctor. Good luck with that. Yeah. Now you'd be more frustrated. I
know this is interesting, Graham. I can talk a bit about this. If a person is regularly angry and accused of a crime like this, will they be tarnished by their past? They may be totally innocent.
Good
maybe
question, Grandpa.
if they've got past convictions, I don't think that can be more brought into the trial until afterwards. I think.
No, you can't.
But
you can't allude to it.
If it would be part of the case, they could be painted as a genuinely. But also, we shouldn't confuse anger and violence. Anger is not necessarily unhealthy if it's managed and processed properly. There's something in the psychological ideas called clean anger, and we can all have clean anger.
Clean anger.
Yeah, clean anger.
What the hell?
So if I'm annoyed with something or someone, like my normal go-to is to go to a close friend, normally Liz, because we hang out an awful lot, and say, I need to have a rant. And then I will have a rant, turn the air blue. She knows it's not personal about her. She's not hurt or affected any way by it. I'm just ranting. And then I feel better. Or you can write feeling better letters and process your emotions and all that sort of stuff. But we're not taught this thing. We're not taught emotional processing skills. We're not taught when people are narcissistic and we try and be the good person, and that just hooks you in even more. We're not
just wasting your time. Run like hell, and don't look back. If you don't know how to channel your anger, life becomes very difficult. It took me years. I'm being very open and very honest. It took me years. And of course, I use it. What's the Public Image song? Which I've quoted this so many times. The chorus goes, anger is an energy. Anger is an energy.
Yeah, it is.
And that stuck with me. And I used my anger at certain things in life to propel me forwards. Not to allow it to cause depression, but to use it as like a furnace, to use it as an engine to motor me forward.
As a raw,
and that's what I did.
As a raw energy, but that takes a level of self-reflection and responsibility, I suppose.
Well, the thing is, and I really don't want to talk about mental health particularly, but we're on the subject of anger, right? If you can't dispel that anger, it can turn to depression. A lot of depression is caused by anger that you haven't got rid of. The trick is to get rid of the anger, or to focus that anger and use it as to propel you as an energy.
Generally speaking, and it's a generalization, men tend to act it out more, kind of project it onto other people. Women tend to turn it more inwards, which is arguably why 90% of the people in prison are men and 90% of the people in counselling are women.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Or did you make that up?
No.
I wouldn't know.
No, I wouldn't make up something like that. It's serious.
This is a terrible story. Let's deal with real life. Paul Claridge messaged me. God. Take two, love. Still rolling. Hello, this is Clem Fandango. Stephen, can you hear me? Most underrated show, Toast of London. Jesus, I love that show. Right. If you read this out, it'll have more resonance because I know the story. So
Last Thursday, I found myself dealing with a colleague who had attempted suicide in front of me. Only two of us in the shop. He was having a mental health episode, and he grabbed a jab saw knife, slashed his wrist, did my best to stop the bleeding, called an ambulance, and sat talking with my colleague until help arrived. Only two of us on duty at the time. That's why I had to reach out to my psychologist friend. Goodness me, Paul, you sound like an angel in disguise. Are you all right, Paul? I'm just checking in with you.
No, he's not. He's not all right. It's not.
Anything we can do
to
help?
But he did the right thing. Paul did the right thing.
Of course he did.
And reached out to a professional. Jeez, god damn. There's two of you. Think about this for a second. There's two of you in a shop. You're minding your own business. And the other bloke has a meltdown, grabs a saw knife, horrible sharp, God knows what, and slashes his wrist in front of you. Come on. Ooh.
I got an interesting story to share. I did a comedy gig last week, a tryout night at a really nice place. This is relevant, by the way. I'm not just.
I just like what I love.
Just bringing it around to talk about myself again in my narcissistic
get this
way.
on the way. Here's somebody just trying to kill himself. Paul's trying to bounce back. Anyway, last week I did a comedy gig. No,
please. That does sound awful, but please bear with me for the rest of the story, Paul and Russ. And there was a group of lads, because it's all about me. There was a group of lads at the bar. Oh, shush! There was a group of lads at the bar, and they encored me, which was really lovely. And I was talking to them afterwards to say, because I worked the room, do a bit of schmoozing, and it turned out that one of them one of the lads in the group had lost his friend to suicide the week before.
Ooh.
And he'd done that thing. He'd come down the pub with his dog, as I think we've all done from time to time, and just sat there going, what the hell has just happened? And sort of processing. Yeah. And I'm not putting all the credit on me, myself, and the other comedians. The whole thing just really lifted him. So my message there is don't underestimate what a difference you can make just by doing what you do and doing it reasonably well, because you can in ways that you may not expect. And that was the point of that story. See, it wasn't all about me.
Was really. The thing about comedy is great. I think one of the things I can't stand about modern life is that comedy, it's like verboten. You've got to be serious about everything. Everything's serious. No, we need lightening up. We need to be amused. That's
Paul, I'm not great, but I've got the help I need. I'll be okay. That's great.
Good.
That's not an easy thing to say, Paul.
No.
And if I can help in any way, or signpost you to some resources, I do know some pretty good ones with all the stuff I've read and studied. I'd be very happy to. Please feel free to reach out to me.
Neil is your man, Paul.
Or
Neil is your man.
I need a laugh, he says. Or I can send you some of my rude and inappropriate comedy songs that I do on the circuit to give you a laugh. Or I can do both. Just reach out to me on Facebook and I'll send you some bits.
Do stress the word rude.
They are rude.
That's all I got to say on that subject. We
got a new song. We got a new song about Sadiq Khan. And
I hate you.
I'm having a bit of trouble with it.
You, Les. I hate you. I hope.
No. The problem is, it's about him renaming the trains because I think that's
the station. Oh, for God's sake, he's renaming the train lines. That only cost $3 million. 3 or 6 million it costs.
Can I read you what I've got so far?
Go ahead. Come on.
Can you help? Maybe you can help me here. Hold on a minute. How
do I do that?
I'll just find it. Hold on, because you know when you just get stuck on something.
Yeah.
And
I dread to think where this is going. I've got a sinking feeling. I know.
No.
We'll play it out. We'll play it out.
It's done to the Wombles, underground, overground.
Underground, wombling free.
No, underground, overground. What does it mean? Mm-hmm. The name of the train's been changed for diversity. So far, spending 6 million on new station signs. Taking the piss with the cash raise from fines. Okay.
Yeah, right. Good.
Signs are confusing and don't work for me. Thought it's a wind up, but no, it's Sadiq. Another expensive, insensitive stunt, and I'm stuck, so I can't think of anything to rhyme. What
rhymes with stunt?
I don't know.
Any suggestions around the world? Errol, sitting in New York City.
I'm stuck. I'm really stuck on that.
Jeez. Oh, man. Hang on. So we're thinking Sadiq Khan rhymes with stunt. Nah. Nothing. I got nothing.
I'm blocked. I've got writers blocked.
I'm blocked. I've got nothing. Can't think of anything. If you can, during the day, send it to Kensham. That's K-E-Y. My favourite is your one with the Hoover.
I'll send you that one, Paul. Here we go. And Paul would like some songs. I'll tell you what, as soon as I come off air, that'll be my first job. I'll send you my comedy set, Paul, and I'll send you some other bits as well, which you can enjoy.
Hey,
good
news for me.
There's also a wonderful treatment called havening, which Paul McKenna writes.
Oh yes, havening.
And it's a way of processing memories that are traumatic. So when you think about them, they don't have the emotional sting or charge that they would do normally. So, and they've used it on soldiers in battlefields who have seen hideous things.
Hang on. Hold your horses there, Paul McKenna guru. So you're thinking of something, I'm serious now. You're thinking of something horrible, something happened, right? So this is pretty good for Claridge. And you do this, and it helps.
Oh. We got a couple of minutes. I can explain it.
Don't forget, we've got as long as we want.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, Paul McKenna basically he neurolinguistic programming, and a lot of the time it works. I've practiced NLP and it works fast. There are some things though that need a bit extra. And he came across this chap who's quite a rare breed, a guy called Ronald Rudin, who is a medical doctor, but he also had qualifications he had interests in other modalities, shall we say, more Eastern modalities, more energetic modalities, more holistic.
What's this word? What is the word you're using? Modalities?
Modalities, yes.
Okay, what's that? I don't know.
Practices. A modality.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, havening's a modality. Aspirins are a modality. It's just like a mode, a way of doing something.
All right. Okay.
And he combined the two, and what he discovered is that in the brain, in the neurology, when we experience, Paul, a trauma, that gets stored in a particular way. And if you imagine, there's lots of like little towers, if you like phone towers in our heads, where the neurotransmitters jump. They jump from one to another. If you ever saw a video of a thought, which has been done, it's fascinating. It's like little flecks of light jumping from one tower to another. Do you remember in chemistry in school when they would do that? Two orbs. It would jump. That's basically that times a million.
Van de Graaff generator.
A million. Thank you. A million billion inside our brain. So when the neurotransmitter jumps, what's meant to happen is it's meant to jump, be uptaken, and then move into the system. When it's trauma, it jumps, but the door stays open. So that will be experienced. So it can't be reuptaken, and that will be experienced as if you've been in a war situation, you hear a car backfire, and all the feelings come back in present moment as if it's happening again now and now and now. That is post-traumatic stress disorder in a nutshell. Okay. With havening, they discovered it has a physical and a psychological component. So doing that in the way a mother would comfort her baby, safe havening, creates delta waves in the brain. And the delta waves with that movement and the other part of havening, which I will forward on to you, Paul, if you like, allows the experience to be reuptaken through the neurotransmitter. So the experience to you, the sufferer from it, the thought of what happened would have no more emotional sting than shall I have beans on toast or a pie for dinner tonight, something innocuous like that.
Really?
As I said, they've used it on people that have been on the battlefields and seen hideous things like children being blown to pieces. That's PTSD. Sorry. But within an hour, it's clear. An hour. Not months, not years, an hour.
No. It's very interesting. Years ago, we had a guest when we had the studio. We had a guest in, and he said, "I'm too controversial." I can't remember his name before you asked me. I can't remember. I think it was me and Phil Dave doing it. And he said, "The army won't let me go to work because I can cure everything so quickly." And I'm thinking, he's either a genius or he's bonkers. It's one of them. Who knows? I don't know. And he said it's too controversial. I wonder if that's part of it. I think the havering thing is.
I think it's been used on army veterans. I met a wonderful guy who is part of an army drive. This is on a comedy place in Hampshire, and lovely man. In fact, he's been on this show. I've had him on the show. And he has a therapy dog, and he comes on stage with his dog and does his routine, which is pretty funny.
But it's an army
drive. It's an army drive to get people suffering with PTSD, back out into society, sort of integrating them. It's a lovely idea. And I talked about havening with him. And Paul says, can I just say, people, if you're struggling, talk to someone. Absolutely.
Yes, here.
It doesn't have to be a professional counsellor. Just talk. I'm lucky to have a close friend who was a psychologist and can also nag at a Premier League standard. Good God, that's a combination.
You're brave, Paul. Losing friends by the minute.
She'll nag you and then tell you why she's nagging you.
Yeah. Are you all right? I'm fine. Fine. Never has one word.
But you know what fine? You know what fine stands for, right?
Go on.
Fucked up, insecure, neurotic, and emotional. I'm available for children's parties. I love the way we can be so profound in a minute, talking about, deep level healing, and then just go into the profanity within a second. The profane and the profound. You get it all here. The yin and the yang.
It's bugging up what I was going to say. I was going to make a serious point, which is a horrible juxtapositioning now. But what I'm going to say is this. If I could, is this. We're making light, but what Paul Claridge is saying, it's just resonating with me because it's just so bloody horrible.
It is.
It is so. Paul,
and I'm not making light of what
no. You're not. He wears his big boy pants 24/7. He's fine. He's fine. Here's the thing. I can't imagine. You're working. You're working where I know where Paul is, and then somebody goes for their wrists with a Jesus Christ, just awful. So he'll be kind of sorted out, but Paul.
Well, I shall send you a link, Paul, to if I can take this liberty to do so. Feel free to use or delete as you wish, to the Paul McKenna book where he talks about havening in great detail, and that could probably really help you if you are getting unpleasant flashbacks or something like that. That is the best solution that I've heard of. It's quick and painless too. You'd have to regurgitate it again and again and again and again.
Yeah, we're going to end with this. This is coming in from New York, from the delightful and very amusing Mr. Errol Rappaport, and this is so true. An actor meets his friend on the street. He says, I just got back from filming a movie in Australia. I have an audition in the West End, and I'm on my way to Hollywood. Enough about me. Hey, how do I look? And that, ladies and gentlemen, is showbiz.
I'll see you Wednesday. Got a great show lined up for you Wednesday. I'm trying to get a really cool guest at the moment. But if we don't, it'll just be you and me. Paul, I love dark humor. It's great medicine. Send me whatever you want. Paul, I absolutely will, and I will do that right now. And all the best.
Wear two pairs of pants. It is that funny.
And thank God we've got this forum that we can talk openly about these things, because the worst thing is feeling that you're alone in this. And trust me, my friend, you're not. Trust me, you are not.
You're not alone. I never liked him, but he's not alone. Right, see you, Paul. Paul, take care. All of you take care. Both sides of the Atlantic Ocean, please, and in Europe. Neil will be back with you on Wednesday. I will be back with the Polkatutinous Chantal, the cravat-wearing Phil, and King of Theatre, Mr. Jonathan Baz. Until then, stay out of trouble. Bye.
Good afternoon.